Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Mental Moments. I am so glad that we are here at Wednesday. We're a couple of days closer to Friday. It seems like the week just started for me, but of course, it's all good. So tonight, I am super excited to have a good friend of mine who just turned 50. His name is Janafri Clark, and he is living his best life. He is realizing that, hey, we got to live our truth one way or the other. I mean, it's your life to live. And so who else better to live it than you? Okay. So in a few moments, I'm going to bring him on. Well, as we speak, we're going to bring him on right now to the stage. Hi, Janafri. How are
Hello.
you?
I'm grateful. How are you?
It's so good to see you. I am
I was
I
just making
am
sure there wasn't
great. I am
nothing in my
wonderful.
teeth.
Look. Nothing in the teeth. I see you. You're looking good and
Thank
everything.
you.
So what we're talking about tonight, everybody, is living in your truth. If you're tuning in with us via StreamYard, via YouTube, welcome. Please like, share, and subscribe. Please share this with your friends. This is going to be a really great conversation. Hey, Darrell, I see you over on Instagram. Hey, my sister. She just celebrated a birthday too, Janafri. Her birthday was on the 14th, which was yesterday.
How do I see the
Hey,
comments? Oh, there we go.
hey, King. Hold on. We'll show it to you.
Oh,
Hey,
okay.
King. Hey, Miss Dollar. It's so nice for y'all to join us here tonight. So look, y'all, we are talking about living your truth, living your true authentic self. And sometimes I know it seems like it's simple as something simple that we can do, but oftentimes we don't. Is that correct, Jennifer? We just don't
We
live
don't.
our best lives, and we don't live. And what I mean by living our best lives, it's just like living your truth, knowing who you are, and living it unapologetically. So look, so
Hmm.
what we're gonna do before we even get started, I'm gonna play a small clip, a piece of a clip about living your truth.
I think like, what does living your truth mean, right? Like we see that a lot. Like people say, live your truth. You're going through something, just live your truth. And it's something we throw around quite a bit. And I find sometimes spirituality and positivity can be difficult if we don't have practicality to it. Is practicality a word? I hope so. If you know what I mean, I understand. And living your truth can seem like this big thing, right? Like living your truth doesn't have to be, I'm quitting my job today and I'm gonna become a singer, and you just shift your life. I mean, if that's what you're called to do, that's what you're called to do, right? But I think living your truth is all about just honoring yourself each day in the incremental steps, right? The footprints you lay on society and in your day. Living your truth is expressing yourself, expressing your opinion in your conversation with your coworker at lunch. There's a debate going on. You have an opinion that you feel wholeheartedly about, but you don't say nothing because you're afraid of the judgment. That's a missed opportunity on living your truth. Living your truth is just about expressing your ideas, your opinions. It's the incremental steps day in and day out. And over time, just like compound interest, that accumulates. And next thing you know, your life is your truth. Every step you take, every breath you make, you're living in your truth. I just feel like that was that Puff. I was about to sing that Puff Daddy song, but you know, understand what I mean. And that's what living your truth is. Living your truth doesn't need to be this huge weighted thing where you feel like, oh my God, I gotta completely shift everything I do. I gotta break up with my girlfriend, quit my job, and move to Dubai, to move to Bali. Nah, living your truth is about honoring yourself. It's about honoring your heart. It's about honoring your mind and your ideas, the things that are planted within us, the incremental steps, like I said, right? Waking up and
Um,
Wow, that was really good,
that
right?
was that was absolutely on point.
Right. We were zoomed in,
I was there.
mesmerized by first by his voice. But
Yes.
but what he was saying, he was speaking truth. It's not about changing your whole life and changing your whole world and like he said, like stop being friends with certain people or
Mhm.
breaking up relationships. But if by chance breaking up a relationship is going to help you live your truth, then by all means, yes,
Of course.
live your truth. So my first question to you, Janafri, is this: as a child, and I know for those of you who don't know, he is a male who is gay, and he's been
Mhm.
living that life for some time now. And so as a child, when did you realize that you wasn't living your truth? And why weren't you living your truth?
I knew that I wasn't living my truth when I wasn't telling the girls that I was dating in high school that I was into men. And the town that I grew up in, small Elkhart, Indiana, is my hometown. That's where I was born and raised. Shout outs to the COE. The moment that I was still sliding over to my homie's house, who was my best friend at the time, to hang out with him. But representing my girlfriend in all those moments where you saw me with someone was the moment I wasn't living my truth. It was even more challenging because of the place that I was, where this is not something that's embraced. It's not something that's as common as we would like for it to be in that time. Because
And why isn't it embraced? What are some external factors
um,
that caused it not to be embraced?
well, as we all have, we were all raised in church, and the church is the place where that's condemned, and you're going to be in you know, you're not going.
Hell.
Yeah, you're not going to arrive at the pearly gates if you like men. And I wouldn't say that my childhood presented uh, a lot of teasing or anything that made me uncomfortable coming out. I just knew that there, and we all know this, there's always one gay guy in these small towns that everyone knows that's gay. And we accept that that's him. And they, not all the time are they feminine. It doesn't matter what they like, but people know that guy's gay. And then there's the people that, like myself, who aren't comfortable in that skin or not living their truth and keeping that as down low as we possibly can. And people knew because when I did finally come out at 21,
Why
you know,
21?
I met my first partner at 21, and I fell in love with him, and I knew at that moment that I was going to pursue my truth, and so that's when I finally came out and told my family, told my mom, told my dad, I told everybody, and
How was it received?
um, everyone's like, "What? Why you wait so long to tell us?"
Right. Like, we all, listen, y'all, we all have family members and or friends that we hang out with all the time, all the
It was
time.
received. It was totally
And
received
it's
by
just like,
my
hold on,
grandma. She was just like,
wait,
"Boy, I
how many?
already knew." She's like, "I already knew I raised you." I was like, "No, you didn't." She said, "Yes, I
But
did."
it's an uncomfortable conversation. Even to this day, it can be an uncomfortable conversation,
Yes, absolutely.
especially when you're talking about someone that has birthed you and they raised you to be a certain way.
Right.
But because you feel like you may hurt their feelings, you may feel like they may disown you, because we know a lot of gay people who were disowned by their family.
Yes. That's still happening. Unfortunately, even in this day and age, that's still happening where a lot of us were raised in a way that we don't embrace each other with love first. It's always, "You're not gonna have any grandkids. What does that mean? Like, what you mean you gay? Like it's such
A taboo.
a taboo and demolished conversation as a child that the last thing you want to do is tell them that you are. So we live in, we don't talk about it.
So what would you say to, say it again?
I think that's also due to a lot of our culture, the way that we are all raised, because we all sat in church, you know, sometimes 3-4 times a week, all day long. And,
Did you say all day long?
and then, for those that, converted over to, Jehovah, and there's all these different, and then they stop celebrating holidays because there's just a lot of things that the church kept us from a lot of that happening when we wanted it to at timings when we wanted to do it. And I always say this: there's no time better than God's time. So it happened when it was supposed to for me. It didn't change my childhood. I had an amazing childhood. I wasn't abused. I didn't get molested. I wasn't, raped
because
or
that's
anything.
what people think when you
Yes,
say
because like that.
gay.
Yeah. So, that was one of the first questions when, my nephew came out. That was the first questions I asked him, like, where did something happen? Like, he said, I've always been into guys. Right. He said, I've never dated a girl like not like that. So that gave me the comfortableness that, nothing transpired that made him, and I'm giving him the space to talk about it if that did happen, because that does happen. So I was just giving him the space to tell me and confide in me that let's get through that together if that did happen. But it didn't. He just found the time to share his truth, and I'm around to allow him the space to live that. Right. We had a moment last night. So it's been a whirlwind of a weekend.
I know. So tell me this. And before we go to commercial break, we'll go to commercial break in a few moments. But what would you say to parents? Because like we know our children. Like we may not can pinpoint when we may have had that thought, or we may not can pinpoint what exactly it is. But if we ask the questions, those hard questions, because oftentimes we don't want to know the answers as parents, we just don't want to know, or we don't want to have that conversation because it can be uncomfortable.
Yep.
So what would you say to parents, like how to even unravel that bow?
For everyone that's listening to this answer, my response to that is they're telling you in the conversations that they're willing to have with you what they want from you. Don't shut them off from them wanting to come share their life with you, even though it's uncomfortable to do so. A lot of parents, because they don't want their child to be gay, they shut off the kind of conversation and relationships that they actually could have to still have the relationship be magnificent. So I would recommend any parent that questions or is on the fence of their child's sexuality, they're telling you in a lot of different ways what they want from you. And if you are paying attention, you can have a really dope relationship with them, regardless of their sexual orientation.
Wow.
Period.
Wow. Right. You can still it doesn't make a difference.
Like it doesn't
change them as a person.
And for those that are out there that's like, I'm not gonna get any grandkids because that was, my experience. There are a lot of ways to birth children these days. And there are a lot of ways that don't require physical contact of me having to go against what I believe in and what I love to do something that I don't want to do just for the sake of having a child. So
exactly,
that doesn't mean you can't get grandkids.
Okay, so y'all can have grandkids, all right?
Oh my gosh, there's so many different types of relationships now.
Yes.
That there could be a gay guy and a lesbian girl, and they're in relationships with the same sex, but they want kids, and they get together, have a child, and then they still share this child and take care of this child. Because at the end of the day, if you aren't taking care of the child, you're not being a parent.
Whether it's
it's conceived household naturally, however it's conceived. If you're not taking care of the child, you're not being a parent. So who cares? What else matters? If
in the grand scheme of things.
Correct.
In the grand scheme of things. So we're going to go to a quick commercial break. And when we come back, we will continue this conversation about living your truth. You're so worth it.
M Green Enterprises is proud to present you with an event that is one of a kind, the I'm Enough Renewal of the Mind Conference. In the words of our fantastic host, Miss Talita Hill-Riddick, we are looking for psychology and theology to be married and not engaged. This event aims to bring together mental health professionals, advocates, spiritual leaders in the community to raise awareness, promote understanding, and provide practical tools for addressing mental health challenges through a spiritual lens. Are you ready to create harmony among your mind, body, and soul? This is an event for you. Grab your ticket now at www.malaratransforms.com. We see you there.
We are back. We are back with Janafri Clark, who is talking to us tonight about living your truth, living your truth. So we were just, before we went to break, we were talking about how we can help our parents allow their children to be free to share. And it's just like, as it talks about, as we talk about sex with our children, things of that nature. It's just like, those are hard conversations. I know y'all hear my little air fryer going on. Excuse me, everybody. but just like we talk to our children about sex. And I know when it came time for me to talk to my son and talk to my daughter about sex, it was easier for me to speak with him about it versus my daughter about sex, because it's just like, did I really want to have that conversation? Because I know what, once you start having sex, I know what that looks like emotionally and physically. And it's just like, how can we have those conversations? And I just say, just have them.
Yeah.
And just say, parents, we can just say, okay, I'm a little uncomfortable talking about this with you. I'm just being really transparent with you. But I don't want to not have that conversation, because I want to make sure that you are equipped to handle anything that comes your way as it relates to sex, as it relates to if you want to be in an intimate relationship with the same sex. So there's so many different ways that we could bring up the conversation, but we say, just start the conversation. It's all about just starting the conversation. So once you turn 21 and you realize, okay, this is who I want to show up as in the world. How did your life, did it change any? Was it a wake up call?
Yes, absolutely. I was no longer hiding. And I was in love at the time, so it was the best thing to do at that moment, because it was my first boyfriend, and we were together for 12 years after I made that moment of living my truth. I got to be loved on in a way that I hadn't been loved on before. So I came out in a relationship, and that relationship lasted a pretty long while, to the point where after that relationship ended, or it ran its course, I didn't know how to be single, because I got in a relationship at such a young age and learned, being in a partnership for so long and what partnership actually meant, to be with someone of the same sex. It was beautiful. I still have nothing but great thoughts of that. So, there was a large level of freedom that came along with coming out, because now I don't have to hide. I can kiss my partner. I can do these things. I can hold his hand. And even then, it was still a little bit challenging, because we were still that was a long time ago. Like, so I would say, like, my family and my friends and, my straight friends, they were even like, so you mean to tell me when we was, hanging out with that chick, like it was very,
they were going back. Right. They were going back in their head, like, wait a minute. So
yes.
You for this amount of time. So when we hung out and we went this place or that place, you were gay, and I thought you were, with the female. So did your straight friends, did they feel uncomfortable? Did you have some that felt uncomfortable with you after that?
No. I didn't. I come from Elkhart, Indiana is the city of a heart. It is the city with a heart. That's the name. That's the motto of the city, right? So literally, if it's a small town, but you will experience a level of love that maybe you haven't experienced before going to Elkhart, Indiana. And so I grew up with that. That's all I know. So when I came out to my straight friends, or they found out, they were like, it was more like, so bro, why you didn't tell me? So was you looking at my butt when we was doing blah, blah, blah? I was like, yeah, but like,
but I'm not going to impose.
Right. So it was just very like, they just like, man, I don't care. I love you, bro. Like it was very much that. Like you were that guy, and I don't care what you into. Like you a dope dude, and they
And you
still
still
embrace me.
cannot free.
Yes, I'm still that guy. It just we don't like the same thing. I
Right.
did for that moment of my life because I felt like I had to.
And I guess there was nothing wrong with you testing the waters to see whether or not, hey,
Absolutely.
society says that that a man should be with a woman. So I guess let me try this and see whether or not this is something that I'm comfortable with.
Right.
And so
Yep.
you had your moment of
I had my
that.
moment. Yep. And life moved on, and the freedom came, and then I just started really getting involved in the community. I became a mentor to gay guys.
That's
I
what I
got
was going to ask you.
Yeah, I became dad to a couple of guys because they didn't have their parents. I totally, shout outs to Carlos and all my friends who are in the ballroom scenes, and everybody who I know that run that, that are part of that community. Like it's an amazing community, and I get it, and when the parents don't embrace their children, they find it in other sources, the love that they're looking for from their parents. And they have like a gay dad or a gay mom who, knows their lifestyle, knows what they're dealing with, but also teach them, what it means to be on PrEP, and, to take doxy PrEP if you're going to have sex, and have the condom conversation, and like, these conversations that are hard to have for the
What's
straight
doxy
parent.
prep for those that don't know what that is?
Doxy PrEP. Doxy PrEP is an antibiotic regimen that you take after having sex with a partner that you may not know. So maybe it's a hookup or something. Within 24 hours of having that moment, you take a couple of pills of Doxy PrEP just to keep yourself from catching, the STDs that would come along with somebody you don't know their status. And having PrEP, HIV PrEP, is something that you should be considering if you're having intercourse with someone you don't know either. So that's just other precautions other than the condom that no one wants to wear because they want to do it raw. It is a thing. And because of Doxy PrEP and these things that are now on the market, that are becoming a little bit more mainstream, we are starting to see condom sales and stuff not necessarily where they should be, where we think they should be. But I'm having those conversations with the people that I'm in their lives and get to have those conversations with them. Like,
And so tell me this, what effect do you think it has on a child when they do come out to their parents and their parents don't agree, don't like
mm,
it, tell them to pray about it, take them up in front of the altar, have them
mm,
prayed over,
mm,
how it
mm,
goes.
mm.
So what does that do?
That could send your child into a mental space that you don't want them to be in. And they may not, they could, and they may and may not ever come back from that space. That's pretty much you turning your back on them. If you can't embrace that this is who they are, they can't. A lot of people who come out and they do drag, or they really own a whole nother person who they know themselves to be, you not embracing that is you just pretty much pushing them away. And that in itself could present mental challenges for a child who's 18 or 17 or 19, and they need their parents to be supportive of what it is that they didn't know that this was in them, and it's there.
And
And
then the thing about that is like you just said, it takes them on this mental journey wherein they feel like they cannot communicate. They feel like they're not a part of the family anymore.
correct.
And you know, and my thought, like, because I had friends that were when I was in college that were gay and things like that, and
Mm-hmm.
they would talk about how they don't have a relationship with their family. They don't have a relationship with their family because they don't agree with it. They don't
Mm-hmm.
like it, and so they lit. So therefore, they're going through having to deal with this all
Mm-hmm.
on their own. And when they felt like they could confide in you, and I say to parents, our children, I mean, we can train them as much as we can. We, as far as like rearing them, and I think we talked about on the show last week about we're wanting to teach our kids, right, and to have them grow up and to be out here in society and live a fulfilled life. But are we
Mm-hmm.
even prepping them really, like, to
Mm-hmm.
make sound decisions on their own? And
You've
especially if
already cut them off to some degree in your mental capacity. So that means you're not feeding them the information that you should be feeding them, given that they've shared that they're gay to you. You've already there. I'm experiencing it right now. So yeah, it's one of those things you have to set aside your beliefs, because you grew up in a time where we were dealing with this differently than people are today. Like gay is, it's honey, we're everywhere. We're dressing you, we're doing your makeup, we're doing your hair, we're your best friends. Everybody has one, right? It's no longer, oh, I don't have a gay friend, I don't know any gay person. Like that's not true. It's in your face. It's on the NBA team, it's on the football team. Our community exists, and you can't deny our community at this point in day and age. So the best thing to do as a culture, and any culture for that matter, is just to embrace that that's who they are, and educate yourself on what that means for, if you're sexually with them or anything like that. But like just having a relationship with a gay person, you probably have some friends that are gay that you don't know because they haven't told you, and you probably thinking it and you just haven't had the conversation. But
that's so strange. Not too long ago, maybe 6 months ago, two of my coworkers that I'm really close with, that are really so dope, so cool, just basically said to me one day, both of them at different times. It was like, hey, what are you doing today? You're at work today? I was like, yeah. It's like, let's do lunch. I was like, okay, cool. I just want to share something with you. I'm like, okay, cool. So one of them, he was just like, I just want to say, I just want to tell you that I finally came out with my sexuality. I told my parents, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, boy, Lord, I'm so glad you found it. We knew. I was like, boy, we knew. We were just like, when the heck are you going? When are you going to be comfortable enough to share it? Especially when you find that they're your really close friends, but you just as a person, you don't want to make them feel uncomfortable by you just asking them.
Yeah.
But if you feel like you want to ask that question, I would say ask that question, but make sure that it's in a setting that's conducive for confidentiality. It's a safe space for you.
Oh my gosh. Let's talk about that for 1 second right there.
Okay. So look, let us go to a quick
commercial.
I'm ready to see if I was going to write now. Stay place. So we're going to go to a quick commercial break from our sponsor so this month, our sponsor is Tiante Gray of Tiante Gray Real Estate Company. And so we're going to share his commercial, and then we'll come back and we're going to talk about a safe space. Make sure you remember that.
Yes, safe space.
Okay.
This is Tiante Gray, MLS number 2080243. Today I just want to talk to you real quick about cash out refinances. Cash out refinance is a great opportunity for you to pull some equity out your current property that you own. It's not always about getting a lower interest rate. It's not about getting a lower rate. It's a strategy that can get you capital. You can use that capital to purchase an investment property, to purchase a second home. That's going to allow you to start to get into the game of having another passive income, such as an Airbnb, a rental property, or even you could pull out the cash to do some renovations on your current home. That way, a lot of times when you get into multiple properties, you have to put more money down, and that's where your more money is going to come from. So it's not always about getting a lower interest rate, but sometimes it's just about getting access to that capital where you could purchase another home, or purchase another property, look into a duplex, and now you have, two tenants in that duplex that's giving you passive income. So please reach out to a loan professional such as myself, and we'll be able to go over some cash out refinance options for you. We're not talking about the rate, we're talking about getting capital for you can purchase another property to start having passive income and having an investment portfolio.
All right, we are back. We are back with Janafri Clark. Please, if you're in the business of buying a house, if you're looking to buy a house, please hit Tiante Gray up, and he will be able to assist you in your home purchasing. All right, so we're talking about a safe
Safe
space.
space.
Yes.
I, I'm glad we don't touch this one. We have to. If someone like your friend in the audience who was watching right now, if a friend calls you up and says, I have something to share with you or tell you, and they take you wherever and they share with you that they're coming out to you pretty much. This is for parents. It took something for this person to
A lot of guts.
share this with you, their parent, because to some degree, there's a conversation that they're letting you down that went through their heads because you're not the traditional human being that we all think you should be. Like you should be only dating women, or you should want kids, or you should want to get married to a woman. If they come out to you, the worst thing that you can do is tell them that that's not what they should be doing. That's the worst thing you could ever do. So what happens is the child automatically is
Shut
gone.
down.
They shut down to some degree. They don't. You're there, but just embrace it. They're your child. You gave birth to them. Yes, you might not be educated about it, but now that your child is, maybe it's something you should take interest in because you birthed this person and
Yes.
they just want to live their truth. And the only way to live their truth is to be comfortable with who they are. They're sharing it with you. So just go with it and love them no matter what.
And keep saying, because I know
Yes.
in my relationship with my daughter, I say to her all the time, look, just like it's uncomfortable for you, it's also uncomfortable for me. Just
Right.
like I may not know everything there is to know, you
Right.
may not know everything there is to know, but I am willing to learn and I'm willing to listen. And even though it may be very difficult and hard conversation to have,
Right.
we just got to have it because you're worth it. I'm worth it. This relationship as a child and a mother, it's so worth it. It's just
Yep.
so worth it. So let me
Absolutely.
just share a couple of comments from our Instagram crew. Spencer says culture and education is has a huge impact on how parents react towards their LGBTQ child. And you're absolutely right. You're at
Mm-hmm.
the culture and the education or the lack thereof
Oh,
of education
absolutely.
has a lot to do with it.
Yes.
Also, Miss Daddy said it's literally everywhere, whether you know it or not. It is.
Absolutely.
It is. Hey,
It
Shavis,
is.
we see you, girl. Go ahead.
Hey,
What was
Shavis.
Hey, Shavis, girl. She is also a huge supporter of me. Whatever it is I'm doing, she will do whatever it takes to make sure she is in the building. So, Shavis, I just say thank you for tuning in. Vincent, I see you out there. I know you said that you're unable to make comments. I'm not sure why, if you're going through on the YouTube platform, I'm not sure. But I do know on the Instagram platform, people are able to make comments. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so Janafri, like you said, please create parents. Set your
Parents. Yep.
you said it best in the very beginning. You said set your own beliefs aside.
Mm-hmm.
Just set them aside because whether that's your belief or not, that's your belief. And just
That's
like
it.
when as human beings, when someone infringe upon our beliefs, we have an issue of concern with it. So how dare you as a parent infringe upon your child's belief? All we can say is just educate your child. Just
Right.
educate them on how to be safe, be
Yes.
in an intimate relationship. And that's with
Oh,
what gay or straight.
so
Okay.
this is something for the parent as well. If your child is, you know, at an age where that may be happening or not, um, the more you try to keep them from that happening, the more they're going to do it.
Gravitate towards it. Yeah.
So the best thing is trust that you raise them with the best skills and what they need to move through life. Trust that you did a good job, because it's highly possible that you did a good job.
Yeah. It's
Because it's
right. We're just
uncharted.
saying it's highly possible that we may have done a good job.
You've
Parents,
done
you
it.
may have done a great job.
You might
Okay.
have done a really good job, and this is for a lot of parents who don't know that they've done a great job.
Yeah.
And you're so trying to protect yours that they're not gonna get fulfilled. They're not gonna live. Right? We want our children to live, like to experience everything there is for them to experience, because there's a very different approach to choices in life if you've experienced some things in life, right? So if you
Absolutely.
get to, you know, you've gotten good credit and you've done all these different things, you've traveled, you've tried different foods, you can actually go through saying, oh, I don't like that. I've done that before, right? It's very different when you don't have the experience of choice, right? So
Yes.
you're being subject to something you've never done before, and
Yes.
you've never done it before. So your choice is based on no experience versus having some experience, or being told, or being given the wisdom from the parents and them being a part of your journey, no matter what. Stay a part
Absolutely.
of the journey. They need you. It doesn't matter what they
That's so
sexually
good.
like.
That is so good.
And
Stay.
and and, and just because they're gay doesn't mean that they're out here trying to have sex with everybody. They just found themselves attracted to the same sex, and it's okay. It doesn't mean that you lost your baby. It just means
Right.
that you need to
That's the way
educate.
we feel.
Yes,
That's
I
what
know,
that's the way you be
baby.
like, oh my God, my baby.
Why
And
he
then
want to
we're
be
so
with guys? You know, blah blah blah. Just embrace it. It's the best thing you can do, because the more you push against it, the more you push them away.
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right.
The more
So
you
look,
push them
so my
away.
sister, who is your birthday almost twin, she's about to join us right now just to share her thoughts about um,
Yay.
living your truth, being gay and living your truth, or being bisexual, or whatever your sexual preference is, about living your truth. So her name is Shirley, and she's coming in now. This is my baby sister. Hey, sissy.
What up,
Hi.
Shirley?
Happy belated birthday.
Happy birthday to you as well.
Thank you so much. Hey, Sissy, how you
Yes.
feeling?
All is well, sissy. So this is my youngest sister Shirley. And so we're up here tonight, Janafri and myself, we're talking about living your truth. And he was talking about when he was, younger, and he came out when he was 21. And he talked about how his village reacted to that. So what would you like to share about living and stepping into your truth?
Well, Tasha, my journey has been a journey of discovery, right?
Yes.
And I feel like the people that call themselves the black sheep of the family are actually the unicorns of the family.
Ooh, like it.
And so
Mm,
living your truth, I think Janafri was talking earlier about how parents sort of kind of, it's the trickle down effect. It's like, well, my mama did it, so that makes it right. There's no
mm,
gauge. It's because my mama did it, it's right. Right. And
mm,
that's not necessarily the case. And so I think it's important that as a child, as a sibling, that we are allowed to live whatever our truth is.
mm,
Right. And so we are not having the conversation of what is your truth? That simple question will help negate some of the, well, you should have told us, well, why did I find out from, right?
mm,
We get
mm,
more upset about who we found it out from than the concept of what it is that we found out,
mm,
Right.
right?
What we're sharing with
mm.
you.
Come on, yeah. That can we make sure that the audience caught this word, because this is a word.
we get so caught up in, well, who told you? Well,
Who
well, where
told
were
you?
you? What were you wearing? Who were you
Yeah.
with? You know,
Right.
as opposed to, you found out that I was hurt. Let's address it.
Mm,
Or you
Let's
found out
address
that
what you found out.
I was living a lie for so long, and this is
yep.
how it showed up. Because oftentimes, parents and children, if you're up here, and parents, sit down. This is a great night right now to bring your kids in the room, whether they gay, straight, whatever their preference is, and sit down, because it's all about living your truth, whatever
Whatever it is.
whether or not, but mom, I'm a liar. And I've been lying all my life and I don't know how to stop. I mean, whatever it is, because we got them too. Okay.
Yeah. Hmm.
But here's the thing, it's just like, don't miss out on those opportunities
Yeah.
of allowing them to be themselves. Because what happens is, how it shows up is they're cutting themselves.
Mm,
They're in the closet drinking, even in grade school, high school, or or if they do share it with someone, then that person may be like, I'm going to tell everybody, and they may not be ready to tell everybody. But it's just like so many things and so many thoughts that go on in your head when you're thinking of coming out or when you do share.
Or Tasha, they're ruining someone else's life by having children and starting a family because they could not be transparent with their family. There's a
And
lot of that.
And that's what Janafri was talking about too. It's just like, instead of him going down this path of the traditional getting married to a female, and because his parents want kids, or he may want kids, but he don't know how the church or how people going to view him, then you live this lie. That's why we have so many people now, either they're down low in the closet, or they have these whole families and everybody that they invite over to the cookout for their good old husband, wife, and the kids type picket fence type thing. Everybody that's coming to the party, they know good and well, yeah, that's your wife, but that's just your trophy wife. She just bared your kids.
just
But
there for show, baby.
would you say
Just
just there for show? Okay.
there for
And
the
so it's
show.
just like, instead of that, instead of ruining, like Shirley said, because what happens? Just like, well, why didn't you tell me? And
Mhm.
now you've ruined the kids' lives, the wife life, or the husband's life, because you was afraid, or you was just trying to do what the society thought you should do. And now you got 3 or 4 people that you're just trying to get them to the next level because you was living this lie. That was a great point, Shirley. What else did you have to share? I know you had.
Um, I think, can you tell we're sisters? I think it's I heard he was talking about a safe space. And I'm finishing a book now, Tasha, where it's just talking about really how to navigate friendships and how
Mhm,
to ask the correct questions to get the right answer. What a safe space looks like to me, it may not look like a safe space to you. And so
mhm,
we can assume that what is safety for me is safety for you. So we get to have those uncomfortable conversations of, what does a safe space look like to you? And do I
mm,
make you feel safe? And you have to
mm.
be okay with if they say yes or no. And how can you get them to someone that is safe? It turns into, well, why aren't you safe with me? Well, why, it turns into, it makes a U-turn.
Right, because then
Um,
it's like me. It's not about
Yep.
you. I'm
Yep.
just saying, and that's another thing, friends, that we need to take inventory and think about it, and course, and change the course of it. And that is, when a person tell you you don't create that safe space. Okay, and I'm gonna say, even for myself, as a person, if I don't like the comment that you made, the natural reaction is going to be, what do you mean? And that's natural. But then you just say, okay, you know what? Let me take 5 seconds. Let me take a few moments to gather myself, because that news was a little bit shocking to me. So I have to process that. But then say, how can I create a safe space for you to share? So it's not about you, it's just about us and about
Mm-hmm.
the relationship. So it's like, how can we create a safe space for each other?
And do
Mm-hmm.
you even know what a safe space is? Most people aren't even asked what does safety feel. Do you know how many men, women, and children feel unsafe right now in their homes, beside their
Oh my
husbands,
gosh,
with their children?
that's a lot.
A lot.
And which is why this conversation is crucial to be having, so that we remind people that that's presently in a lot of people's lives right now, that they are unsafe.
Right, right. So
They're
Shabi said,
unsafe.
you want to always create a safe space for your child. I respect everyone's truth, but it's hard to understand what's true today.
Well,
I'm gonna
sorry, go
add
ahead.
to Shirley, sorry, to what I said earlier, so that people get this if they didn't hear it earlier. A safe space could start with you being a parent that's listening. Let's just start there. Not necessarily does everything require feedback from you, because you want to go back and forth with the child about why he's sharing or what he's doing or what he's telling you. Sometimes they just want you to hear them. That's safe for them. So then they know where they can go to share that thing that they can't share with everybody, or with somebody they don't know, that they don't feel safe with. The great place to start to create a safe space is listening.
Because we always, as parents, we always
Sure.
got a rebuttal.
My point exactly.
Okay, because just like, because here's the thing, say,
Just
you know how
listen.
we say, parents might be like, this doesn't warrant a response. You
Mm-hmm.
know, parents, we good for that with the finger. That don't warrant a response. You just
Mm-hmm.
listen. And so it's just like, as a child, it's just like, Mom, I don't really know how to formulate what I'm saying, but I did want to share this, and I don't know what we can do with this information that I've shared with you. And like I said previously, be transparent enough, parent. Like if it was hard, and like Janafri said earlier, like that's like could be the hardest thing for a person, for a child to say, because first and foremost, most children do not want to disappoint their parents. They just don't.
That's correct.
They,
Hmm.
they will do anything, keep it a
Mm-hmm.
secret, go into an emotional breakdown, like
I
because
can't
Hmm.
tell my dad, he's gonna flip out, right? Like,
Hmm.
yeah,
right.
my mom, she's gonna, and then the mom is judging the person that he dating. She's like, why can't you pick somebody else?
or or they don't want to bring them around family.
Yep.
Hmm.
But what are y'all gonna do around family? You know,
Mm-hmm.
and I can say that, Shirley, if it's okay, sure, we had conversations. Look, she said, and as a parent, and I can say this for myself, everybody, that when I was raising my daughter and my son when they were really young, and if I had a friend or a family member that was like, "Hey, I'm gay. Just want you to know, blah blah blah," and I have said, well, because my children are at a certain age, I don't want them to see a gay relationship just yet. Like, we try to shield our kids for as long as we can, and we try to try to lead them what we think is this straight and narrow path, but I had to say, okay, this is just my thought as a parent, because there's no manual on how to raise your children. And so you try to protect them from anything, from being too sexually active at an early age. We try to protect them from those things. And so you just have to learn to, course correct and ask for forgiveness. Parents, I just want to say this to you.
Hmm.
It is okay to ask for forgiveness.
My
It's okay.
grandma, My
Go ahead.
grandmother gave me a lot of leash as a child. Like she didn't choke me with you can't do this, you can't do that. And I think that as a child to have that amount of freedom that was provided for me, it allowed me to want more of exploring, right? Like I didn't
Mhm.
just get from her because she didn't know everything, but she did her very best to take great care of me, and she did that.
Mhm.
But I was allowed to do a lot of things and not, you know, she embraced me and she kept me. I had to be in before the street lights, just like any other child in that day and age. But she gave me a lot of freedom, which allowed me to grow up, and I hung around elders. I was always around older adults as a child. So I'm learning from these people who are telling me, well, you need to do it like this, blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
it was enough of that around that they cared enough. My family members who was just here this weekend, Po Billy, one of them, he was my ace boon coon. I was always with him. He's 65 right now. I'm 50. So that's the age gap. So imagine me being 19, 20, how old he was. But I was always around him, and I always had someone older that was around to give me the how I should be moving in these
Guidance.
situations. Right.
Mhm.
But like I never was choked hold of, long as I did what the rules were. You ain't coming home, you need to let me know you're not coming home. So I know not to expect you. So I don't lock you out. Right. Like this, the normal child stuff. But I
Mhm.
find that we are so busy trying to keep our kid in the house away from the world that it's detrimental to them actually having a really dope life experience. I feel like
Mhm.
you trying to keep them from having sex, and well, you had sex at 18. You had your first child at 15. You know what I mean? Like,
And that's the thing, and that's
yes,
the,
yes,
and that
different times, but like that you still did okay. Here we are,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
My mom had me
and
at
again, it's
18.
the conversation.
It's the
Again, it's
conversation. Like
starting
it's
the
the same.
dialogue.
It's stop it. Is what I'm trying to say. Just stop it. Just get
Just
educated
stop it.
about the things that you can implement in your child's life, so that if they are out there doing those things, they're equipped to
Mhm.
to have some type of solution if they come home and say it's itching, or
Mhm.
it doesn't feel great, or I got a cough or whatever. But
Mhm.
don't try to keep them from it. The best thing you can do is push them into the world and be the support system if they fall, and be
Mhm.
what they need if they need you, if that time shows up.
Mhm.
But if you're being a dope parent, it'll show up and you still will be doing great because you're there. That's what they need the most. They need you
It's
to be there,
being there. It's
being
being
there.
there emotionally and physically being there as well. Because
Yeah.
there's so many kids out here that have parents in the household. They're physically there, possibly, but they're not emotionally there. They're not there emotionally. And so you're absolutely right,
Yeah.
Janafri. Just stop it. That's
Yeah.
if you didn't get anything else from tonight, stop it.
Stop it.
Parents,
Yeah.
stop
Just,
it.
love your child. We right now need our parents more than ever. If you want to be a therapist right now, it's a great time to be a therapist because we need them more than ever. And we as a culture, we're reaching out to them because that was something we didn't do. Oh, you
Absolutely.
crazy. You got a therapist, right?
Yep,
That
you're absolutely right.
it
So
wasn't taught to us to express ourselves to someone that could listen.
that
Right.
was
So
not in our household because they had to stay in the house, remember?
Right.
correct.
It's
We're
it's
telling
it's
our
almost like it's almost like saving the brand is killing the
Right.
brand.
Right. All at the same time.
It's like we gotta save face, we gotta save face. Meanwhile, the police gonna be at your house in 2 weeks.
Correct.
okay,
You know what I
so
mean? And now
everybody
the
gonna
now
know
the whole
now.
neighborhood knows.
Correct. Absolutely. Because you keep trying to hold on to this brain that wants to be out in the world. So I'm making it my job and my responsibility to extend as much of that to those around me that need that as I possibly can. Like,
Extend grace. So look, we're gonna
yes.
go to a quick commercial break and then we'll be right back. And I can't believe we're already at the close of the. Oh
Hey,
man. This is such a
There's
great
nothing like great conversation. It goes real fast.
go
Yeah.
real
You
fast.
looked up hours and went by.
Right,
Okay.
right. So we're gonna do a commercial break and we'll be right back, everybody.
New Wave Capital Suites is a premium styling lounge now conveniently located in Boxyard RTP. Whether you're stopping in for a fresh fade or a shampoo or a facial, our goal is to provide RTP with a space to relax, refresh, and redefine yourself. Welcome to the Capital.
All right, we are back. We are back. So this is a question that I want to ask to the birthday people. One time for the birthday boy. One time for the birthday girl.
Oh my God,
So
I'm still high from the weekend.
okay, so I know. So we're gonna let you end it. But Cheryl,
Yo,
now that you are, how old are we?
44.
So now that you're
Mm.
44,
Hmm.
is it more of your truth that you're displaying, or you've realized like you, because most of the time we come to our birthday, we're like, okay, what do I know for sure right now? Like, and how do I want the rest of my life to look like? So did you have that moment?
I did. Um, Me operating in my truth was me realizing that I was not operating in my truth
And,
Mm.
and how old? See, and
at
no,
44. I
okay.
was like, absolutely not. No more playing small. Absolutely not. Believe them the first time around. Absolutely not. Say no. Absolutely not. Trust your personal guidance system. Absolutely
Mm.
not. You hurt my feelings.
And so those reasons, I'm out.
I'm I,
Right.
I'm out, or let's take a knee. Like you say, Tasha, take a knee. Let's
I
table
like
it.
that whole little take a knee. Get down on one knee, baby.
Take it. I need you to
But
Colin
take two if you
Kaepernick
need
me.
to.
And so that's
Yes.
what I'm learning, Tasha, that I am. I remember I was hitting this really low point in my life. And I remember you sent me a text message. I was at mom and dad's house. And you said, Sissy, just remember that you are beautifully and wonderfully made. And I take that with me. And that was probably 8 or 9 years ago. And I take that with me. I have to remember that I am beautifully and wonderfully made. And
Yes.
the gifts that God, if you have a problem with me, you have to take it up with God, because he
Hmm.
created me. All the gifts. I'm about to blow some people's minds, because I have not been operating in my highest vibrational c-
Circuit.
circuit, vortex, whatever you want to call it. I have not been doing it. And so 44 is a double number. It's like, okay, God, I'm ready if you're ready. I released some of the things that you told me was taking up too much room for you to really bless me at the capacity in which you've been telling me for decades you want to bless me. So, God, do you trust me now?
Mm.
That's really good. That is really
Mm.
good. And so I am
Yes.
so glad that you had that aha moment, that awakening, and the renewal of your mind. And so I'm so, so happy that
Hmm.
you're at that place. So,
Thank you, Sissy.
Janafri,
Yes.
what a whirlwind weekend. Of course, we got a few more moments, but what a whirlwind weekend. Janafri celebrated his 50th birthday in
Woo, woo.
California this weekend. We had Friday night, we had a great party. Then on Saturday, we
We
had a
had brunch.
pre-birthday party Friday night. Saturday was the big all-white party. And then
Saturday
Sunday.
morning was the brunch downtown. Sunday was the beach in Malibu, and Sunday night was the rooftop in Mama's Shelter, Hollywood.
So what do you know
Come on.
now? What is living your truth now at 50? What does that look like for you?
Absolutely being a no more than I have ever.
You said being enough,
Being a no,
being
N-O.
enough.
I was raised by my grandma. So grandma's in me. You call me and you say you need something, what grandma gonna do? She gonna
Make
go in
it
the
happen.
kitchen, cook you something to eat. Come on over, baby. I got some meal. What, your lights got turned off? Well, I got a pallet in there. You can stay on the sofa, right? I'm a no. I've
So
done that
now
enough.
you instead of
I,
instead of saying yes, it's like you've got to
it's
create those
it's
boundaries.
it's no. It and it's okay, because you either accept my no or you don't. It's okay, because you're gonna get no when I want to give you no, and I'm gonna be okay with being a no. I don't have to do it. I don't, like I realize how much I've extended myself for people who really truly, if you haven't been loved on in a way that you get the amount of love that's being shared with you right now, you wouldn't understand that you have never been loved.
Yeah.
Right. So
Yeah.
I don't know any other way but to love you. Just that's just my natural way of being, which is why I named the weekend Pure Love, because that's all I wanted to share. So everybody came together, everybody gave something, somebody, my best friend came and cooked, you came and helped Spencer help put, like, all from love. There was no text being written. They just wanted to be a part of something that I created them being a part of. And that's what love is, doing something, not expecting something in
In
return.
return.
So
This
the
has been
weekend was crazy on the love. Like everybody is still hitting me up right now, sending me text messages about their experience this weekend.
and
So
and
all,
we have to demonstrate love. We have to demonstrate
yes,
love, and we have to teach people how to treat us and how to respect us. And it can be difficult, but those that are really for you, they'll hang
they for
around
you.
and they'll
Absolutely.
course correct. But
That's
those
correct.
that are not, they'll fall by the wayside. And I know for myself, the older that I get, the smaller the circle is, and I'm okay with the small circle, because that's all you need. Because all the other stuff, it's just
Yeah.
garbage. It's just rubbish. You really don't need that.
We
But
don't
listen,
need that.
Free, Shirley, I am so elated and so happy
Mm,
that you chose to sit with me this evening and talk about living your truth. Everybody, this has been another episode of Mental Moments. If by chance you're wanting us to discuss a particular subject matter, please hit me up in my inbox and we'll be more than happy to share that with the audience. We love you, and we ask that you just take a moment and give yourself grace. Allow
mm,
yourself grace and to just live in your truth. Because why? You're so worth it. This has been
absolutely.
another episode of Mental Moments. We'll see you next week,
Thank you.
Wednesday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We love you all.
Bye, sis.